Thank you to the Association for Industrial Archaeology for the invitation to present at this online workshop. I'm Gordon Davis, a member of Cambridge Museum of Technology in the UK. I ought to preface that opinions expressed in this research presentation are my own. The project I will present has involved the assistance of many contributors: museum staff, researchers, video contractors, museum volunteers, as well as museum funding partners. In 2022, I made a proposal for the East-West workshop series when I was in the pre-production phase of a twinning research collaboration project between Cambridge Museum of Technology and the Industrial Gas Museum at Technopolis, city of Athens. I'm delighted to now have the opportunity to share with the Association for Industrial Archaeology the first public showing of the cooperation between these industrial museums. Cambridge Museum of Technology explores the city's industrial heritage from the steam age to semiconductors. This independent, volunteer-led museum, located in the old sewage pumping station, celebrated its 50th year of public opening in 2021. Technopolis, city of Athens, hosts an industrial past, cultural present, and innovative future. Technopolis includes an industrial gas museum, inaugurated in 2013, a unique monument of industrial heritage, the only preserved gasworks to have maintained its entire mechanical equipment in place. In Cambridge, the University Library was designed by the same architect, Giles Gilbert Scott, as Battersea Power Station in London. The architect used ancient Mesopotamian and Assyrian palaces and temples as design references for both buildings. Which raises a question. If a library can be the architectural twin of a power station, and both are designed in the style of Bronze Age Mesopotamia, is there actually an architecture of industry? The point is to show that industrial architecture has many external influences, including religious and civic architecture, a theme that is explored in this tale of two industrial cities.
A small church, almost. Toplit. Dust motes held in sunlight. In vapour, patterning the floor. These decorated walls, glazed in green and yellow ochre, blue and hospital white. Tiles glistening, clean and smooth and cold.
So why twin the architecture of industry in these cities? Firstly, there are similarities. A shared experience as industrial museums in urban locations that have had millennia-long histories of trade and industry. Yet neither city tends to be strongly associated with the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century, even though both cities are home to significant examples of industrial architecture from that period. Which architecture did you come to see? In Cambridge, The city's visual presentation, especially to tourist visitors, tends to be framed in terms of the city being a university academic town. But Cambridge also retains a surprising amount of industrial heritage for a relatively small city. Company records, photographs, museum volunteers have documented and salvaged architecture from the rapidly changing landscape around the museum in the early 21st century, as the former gasworks was demolished for redevelopment. Which architecture did you come to see? In the case of Athens, architecture from thousands of years of habitation continues to attract archaeologists. But take a glimpse at the background. Even as the industrial architecture of Athens' Photerio gasworks first arrived in the 19th century, archaeological decisions about which architecture was to be retained, restored, or demolished, such as the Frankish Tower on the Acropolis, were already changing the city's architectural heritage. Which architecture did you come to see? Another reason to twin. Industrial architecture and archaeology at the respective museums complements the other. The Industrial Gas Museum at Technopolis, City of Athens, retains the most complete archaeological example of a manufactured gasworks. This is juxtaposed with absence in Cambridge, where the gasworks was demolished and the site remediated. Another way that twinning complements industrial architecture. Both museums happen to contain examples of steam boilers built by Babcock and Wilcox. In Cambridge, the Museum of Technology has restored the boiler. Which helps bring steam alive and hands-on for a new generation in the 21st century. Both remediated sites now also host non-human visitors. The industrial architecture is part of the local ecosystem. I have to declare a personal interest in selecting this research, having lived and studied and worked in both Athens and Cambridge. The filming project took an immersive approach, as defined in this recent academic reference, How Documentaries Work. Outside of the realm of traditional storytelling, immersive documentaries build a satisfying aesthetic experience, setting up tonal patterns. Notably, these films tend to have little dialogue and no narration. These films nonetheless answer the question, what is this about? How were the films made? This video project has involved lots of teamwork, building on existing contributions by staff and volunteers, especially in archives. In Cambridge, architectural documents and photographs have been archived and digitised by museum staff and volunteers. In Hellas, museum staff have digitised and published architectural plans, site photographs, company records, workers' archives. Volunteers of the Hellenic Vault of Industrial Digital Archives have created a searchable database map containing architectural site plans, documents, and photographs about the Athens gasworks before and after its transformation into Technopolis, city of Athens. I commissioned local photographers and drone videographers who operated within the respective civil aviation authorities' drone permits throughout the seasons and at different times of day and night. The drone team recorded the variety of colours that the museum's brickwork reflects. The composition of an accompanying soundtrack, mixed from recordings of the museum's own engines, turned the museum into an orchestra. In Cambridge, I commissioned a poem to match the rhythm of the engine sounds of the museum.
Acrid tallow, coke and clinker, sulphurous, choking, filthy ash, decay. And always, deep in the well below, the sewage pumping, pumping, pumping. The relentless tide rising and falling. The sweet and sour stench of it lingering on skin and hair and clothes. Yes, breathe deep and remember them all.
In Athens, the goal was to create a thematic series of short, self-contained videos, each exploring related aspects of the architecture of industry. Topics included taphonomy, a subject previously discussed in the workshop The Archaeology of Technology. Filming the Architecture of Industry addresses the question, where does industrial architecture belong? An accompanying bibliographic essay explores the architecture of industry as represented within the history of cinema, describes creative choices made in this film, and provides resources for you to make your own visualisations of the architecture of industry.